Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, boys and girls. How are we all doing? Welcome in. Hope we're good. This is quite probably going to be the last stream before Christmas now. It's Friday, Christmas landing midweek. It doesn't make a huge. Well, let me put it this way. I'm actually going away. I spend Christmas at the in-laws, so we're leaving on Monday afternoon. We won't be probably back till Friday, so there's a good chance that this is the last stream until Christmas now. A little bit of a Christmas break. I want to just round things off a little bit, to be honest. Today I want to, we'll check our auctions first thing. Winter's Veil is usually a, you've spotted a wild alma appears. Winter's Veil is often an event that I miss half of it because of Christmas. So we might have a little bit of a poke around Winter's Veil a little bit. Funnier to spend it at the Outlaws than the in-laws. Yeah, indeed, yeah. See if we can get Poppy Cam. Here we go.
Is that your wallet?
I got the two of them in here today. Chris with a 22. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've only got these pair in here today. I had to do a bit of a clean up of the studio yesterday because we got some guests coming over tomorrow, and because this is for all intensive purposes, a fully fledged studio apartment, hence why I call it the studio. Behind this door, not that you guys have ever seen behind the door, but behind the door there's a little bedroom, so there's there's facilities. If we have guests come over, we offer them this place so that they have, a bathroom and a proper bedroom and TV if they want to watch, and facilities. Obviously, they're more than welcome to stay in the main house, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, that sounds cool. We'll stay in the studio." So I had to clean the damn thing, right? So I had a lot of, and to be fair, with having 4 puppies running around, it could absolutely have done with it anyway. So I spent most of yesterday just like giving the place some tender loving care. Plus, it was also a good opportunity for me to get some of the paperwork that goes alongside streaming and content creation. I had to start putting numbers together and making sure all of my finances were in check because it's the end of December and I have to pay taxes and do all of that sort of fun stuff. So I got a little bit of that done as well. You wouldn't think that sitting playing video games for a living would come with so much flipping paperwork, but it does. It's kind of ridiculous. But today, yeah, let's have a poke about. I know Winter's Veil has started and is up and running, and we can go and have a little bit of a poke around that on the main dude. But I want to check my auctions first. This is Draenor, so I'm not expecting to have sold anything on Draenor. I don't list anything on Draenor. Draenor is just the realm I throw my trash these days. Any random trash that I have just knocking about, or old materials or anything like that, Drainor's the realm I just throw them on. It obviously doesn't matter when selling materials, but odds and ends that don't really serve much of another purpose get thrown up on Draenor these days. And occasionally, if there's a big thing going on, I'll use it as a big realm to get some quick sales on, but otherwise, we just throw some trash on it. But is everybody starting to feel that little bit more Christmassy? I don't know about you, but I've not had Christmas vibes all that much this year. I don't know if it's just because my IRL situation has been a little bit more busy this December, but I've not had that real Christmas feel. I think it's probably in part the fact that the weather's been trash. I've kind of, I want it to get cold and I want it to get chilly and I want to put a log fire on and I want it to not be raining and I'd love a tiny little just sniff of snow. None of that has really been done so far, so I'm hoping that, to be fair, I didn't put decorations up in here and I haven't got my Christmas hoodie on, so it's partly my own fault, but it's just been busy, It's just been no vibes yet. Busy few months. Got 2 weeks off now, though. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I always feel sorry for people who have to like work most of Christmas. Because it is one time of the year where I think everybody. Now, I know Christmas has these, is wrapped up in religious connotations, but, at least in many a Western country, it's just considered a, general public holiday. I think it's nice for most people to be able to take at least a few days off. 2 weeks is cool, though. 2 weeks is good. Working the last day, then off till the 7th? Wow, okay, well that's really cool. That's double bonus. That's awesome stuff. I will, I've mentioned this already, but just to reiterate, I know it's only the 19th, and the people are like, oh, well, it's not Christmas till next Thursday. How's this the last stream? Well, we've got guests coming over the weekend. And then Finland is a country where we actually celebrate Christmas on the 24th. I have to cook the ham on the 23rd. That is my responsibility in the family. I am the ham chief. I have to cook the ham on the 23rd, and I do that at our in-laws' place. And to make things convenient, we go to the in-laws on the 22nd. Which is why all of next week for me is basically a week off week. Monday through till the Friday. We'll actually come home on the Friday. We'll come home on Boxing Day. But then it's Saturday, Sunday. Honestly, after a week at the in-laws, I kind of need a few days to just chill and actually to get some, to rehydrate and maybe stop drinking for 2 days. But then there's a good chance that come the 29th, we might be back on it. I think I might be itching to play some video games again by the 29th. So we might throw the stream up then. I have no plans this year to do anything for New Year's Eve because with 2 new puppies, it seems irresponsible to do anything. Seems very irresponsible with now 2 new puppies and 2 dogs that I know are. My older dog doesn't particularly like fireworks anymore. She's old, loud bangs, not a fan. Nipsu doesn't care, but I have no idea how the 2 puppies are going to react. So I've got no plans to do anything on New Year's other than to sit in with the wife, maybe have some nice food, and look after the dogs while all of the booms go off. So although I might turn up and throw a stream up these few days, the last few days of the year, it won't be anything particularly serious. We'll just keep things chill. We've got a pre-patch date though now, don't we? We got a pre-patch date. What was it, 21st? I saw. Where's the? Let me log a bank character in. Let's get to work. Where'd it go? It's where we saw. It's where we had a pre-patch day. Pre-patch date. 20th. Oh, wait, hang on. New achievements found on the Midnight Beta describe how players can unlock the ability to harvest lumber whilst mounted on each continent. Oh, okay. Maybe this is Blizzard's way of normalizing the power of druids, I suppose. New achievements that could make lumber gathering a whole lot easier. According to the new achievements, once a player gathers 250 lumber from a specific continent, they'll unlock the ability to harvest lumber whilst mounted in those zones. Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. That's subtle enough that it isn't going to make that big of a difference to most people, but it will be impactful enough so that players don't feel that they have to log on to their druid. Oh, I like that. That's a change I'm happy to see. I really didn't want to see them increase the yield of lumber. Now, there's not to say that they might not do something like that, but I thought that the lumber being a bit of a you know, there's a sense of friction with the lumber is in my opinion quite well balanced. 200, you can get about 250 lumber an hour if you kind of actually focus on what you're doing and avoid the squirrels. 250 lumber an hour in most continents, not too difficult. But that number can easily be cut down to like 180 if you're not doing it on a druid. So I guess this, at the very least, balances the class aspect of gathering lumber. You might then feel no real issue with going out and gathering the lumber on the crafter that can then do something with it rather than, you know, I know it's not exactly a complicated thing to gather it on a druid, put it in your war bank and then craft with it, but it's one of those things that, you know, confuses people. But that's quite cool. That's subtle enough that I don't think there's any issues with that. Giving people the ability to be, you know, maintain mount status. It's yeah, I think that's a subtle enough change that it will appease people. Now, the fact that it's on the beta though means that that might not be a thing that happens until Midnight launches, or it could be a systematic change that comes in with pre-patch. Which, back to what I was actually looking for. Midnight pre-patch, January the 20th. There we go. There we go. New Demon Hunter spec as well. So what are we going to get on pre-patch? The new Demon Hunter spec. How are goblins going to capitalize on this? Every man and their dog's going to be running a new Demon Hunter. Do we think we might see the last final hurrah for gems, enchants? If you happen to be a leather worker, you might see a fair few work orders coming from Demon Hunters. Now, of course, this announcement might... People have already been spinning up some Demon Hunters already in preparation for this, but we'll see. New racing class combos, the Void Elf Demon Hunters, the new class combat design updates, the stat and the item squish kicks in, user interface updates, transmog updates, PvP training grounds kicks in, housing early access, the pre-expansion event kicks off, and the Winds of Mysterious Fortune returns. I'd kind of forgot that the stat and the item squish is going to kick in at this point as well. There is probably, if I put my brain into gear, which is very difficult to do pre-coffee, there is probably some weird shit that will happen with crafting on this. Because I don't fully know and haven't really deeply looked into how all of the profession tools and accessories and all of that sort of shit copes with a stat and item squish. The funny thing is that, you know, it might if it I don't know what's happening with this. I could speculate, but it's easy to just say I don't know. But there's a good chance that this does some funny business with your with your crafting stats. So, will the War Within be unlocked for accounts without the expansion on the pre-patch day, or will it be with the launch of Midnight? Well, pre-patch is officially 12.0, isn't it? So I don't know. Good question. I don't know. It's one of those things that would make sense if it was the case. It would make sense if they did bump up access to the War Within for everybody at that point, because then even people who have just a subscription from Classic can come in and can play up until level 80 and do all of the things if they want, and that's a great, you know, great way to upsell the midnight expansion, isn't it? But I don't know. I don't know. We still craft 727 item level gear in the pre-patch? Will we still have crests still? I mean, you'll still be able to craft. You'll just craft with squished stats on it. The gear conversion to pre-patch sucks a 730 converted toon squished very bad, so no point to craft the 730s. Well, last time I looked at it, it takes you down to item level about 155 or something, I think. Which, considering level 80 gear and zones are balanced around you having item level 80 to 100 gear, you still absolutely stomp everything. You have a 732 now, you can almost one-shot level 80 mobs in the entirety of the War Within. With pre-patch in the same gear, it'll take you 2 seconds or more per mob. It's a huge nerf. Okay. Yeah, it'll probably feel weird in the War Within, but it's because it's balanced for... It's going to be balanced for midnight zones, isn't it? That's why. But it will feel slightly odd for a little while anyway. But it's pre-patch, you know. Who cares? at that point, it's midnight waiting room anyway. It'll be at that point people will just piss around on Demon Hunters for a bit. We'll have whatever the pre-expansion event ends up being. Numbers across the game are being reduced to improve clarity and readability. It's always your power level relative to that of your enemies will remain the same. There'll simply be more relatable numbers on your screen. I love how they claim that to be the case. That is absolutely categorically never the case, but sure. Players who have purchased any edition of the Midnight expansion can join a neighborhood, claim a house, start customizing their new home. They already can. Week of January 27th, the pre-expansion event gets underway. So that's also one thing to be noted. That when pre-patch launches, it's still 1 week until the pre-expansion event happens. There's still a week delay before the pre-patch event kicks in. The pre-expansion event gets underway, making the perfect time to try out a new class changes. The Winds of Mysterious Fortune buff also returns, offering all adventurers a chance to reap the bonus experience from level 10 to 79. Catch up on your ults, finish that missed content and unlocks, and prepare for the launch of Midnight. 10 to 79 is already blisteringly fast because we've already had the XP curve change. So 70 to 80 is actually like crazy fast at the moment. A few time walking dungeons and you're done, literally, because it's already scaled as if the War Within is, you know, old news. Pre-patch sets are now a thing apparently, but the set bonus is a dog, sadly. Oh, okay. I've not looked into all of this anywhere near as much as I sometimes do. It's a timing thing for me. It's been crazy how how busy the last couple of months have been and how busy the next couple of months are going to be. And that's all before an expansion. Like, I'm so not used to it being this crazy busy at the end of an expansion. And with 11.1 keeping me very, very busy with the Undermine and leveling all the ults and the cross-realm flipping things, I genuinely feel as if I haven't stopped in like a year. This is probably why I'm tired at the moment. And I'm actually quite looking forward to a bit of a Christmas break. I know that's the most unrelatable statement a streamer can say. That I'm looking forward to not playing video games for a week. But like usually there's a bit of a lull at some point in the game where I can just, you know, would go play other things and just like. But it's been just like boom, 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 boom for a good few months now. Alpha kicking off. I mean, obviously, once again, I was very fortunate to get into the alpha. I know it's not a luxury everybody gets. Getting into the alpha, Then we, alpha, going into beta, remix, housing turning up, Christmas happening at the same time. I stupidly got 2 new puppies whilst trying to do all of this. I'm desperately trying to put some content together for a guide for everybody for midnight. We have the pre-patch event kicking off within 20 days of the new month. January is meant to be the slowest month of the year. Like, January is meant to be like, and breathe, but it's not. January is not going to be the and breathe month. January is going to be go, go, go. It must be horrible working at Blizzard at the moment. Genuinely. I mean, it's good that it's good that it's busy. Being busy is better than having nothing to do, but like on the flip side of things, it's like Blizzard employees must be absolutely cooked right now. Kind of crazy. I feel you burn out, can't sleep for collecting wood. You're just seeing donk, donk, donk in your sleep. Yeah, this is why farming the wood was not my jam. Really not my jam. I get some people dig it, but touch too much for me. If you're playing WoW and streaming it, you're not allowed to play other games. End of story. I know. I don't think I've done as well this year at putting WoW down and going and playing other things. And it's I went into 2025 with very strong expectations of that this would be the year that I tried to branch out a little bit from just WoW. But it was because I'd put a lot of planning and preparation into GTA 6 launching, and then that just didn't happen, did it? Then it got, GTA 6 quickly got delayed until, what was it going to be, like May next year, sorry. Now it's been delayed till November next year, which is, I like, it's deja vu for me. I'm looking at 2026 in the same vein as I did going into 2025, and it's like, what? At least GTA 6 launching in November next year will probably not clash that heavily with anything interesting going on in WoW. We'll be in 12.1 by that point, so either 12.1 will be, for me, it will either be a hit or a miss, won't it? Like, 11.1 was a hit because Undermine I quite enjoyed, plus Undermine had an absolutely fantastic goal-making opportunity that very much suited my playstyle, so I absolutely can't complain. But if I look back to 10.1, for example, in Dragonflight, 10.1 was a flash in the pan for me. 10.1, we saw the tail end of the Lariat craze. We saw Dracothist alt armies kicking in, but that wasn't really my playstyle. So 10.1 for me was a bit of a, sit back, chill out, relax, wait till 10.2. And then 10.2 was a copy-paste. So the tail end of Dragonflight for me was a lot more chill. Probably why I played a bunch of other games. But the War Within's been just busy, busy, busy. It's been all go. It's been all go. Been fun though, mind. Been fun. It's definitely not that I'm going to tier list this shit, but it's definitely been an expansion that has been up there for me. It's a top 5 expansion for sure. I would even go as far as to say probably it beats out Dragonflight for me, I think. There were some elements of frustration throughout the War Within. Elements of frustration being that they, certain things like their need to time gate stuff has really, really grinded my gears a little bit. But I'm once you are, oh no, I didn't mean to move everything to bags. Oh well, now I've ballsed it. Now I've ballsed it. Log out. 69 views on Twitch. Nice. I don't see my view count, by the way. I don't pay any attention to my view count. I have it hidden deliberately, by the way. I don't mind people occasionally saying it in chat for reasons like 69, but under normal circumstances, I try to ignore it while I'm streaming. Let's put all of that back. Let's try this again. 6-7 now? Fucking hell. Can't we just drink coffee and be old? What's with all of these internet memes? What's going on? It's too early for this business. Don't get the 6-7 brain rot. Like I said, I think it's just too away from a good meal. Oh, decor. Thoughtful. There we go. That's the button I'm trying to press. Flipping out. Brain rot is genuinely one of the weirdest phenomenons to have hit the internet. But at the same time, it doesn't surprise me that it's like brain rot is our generation's Ed, Ed and Eddie Cartoon Network. You know, we had little silly, bright cartoons that just like just absorbed all of our focus and attention. And now that level of stimulus is just not good enough, it's been extended to outrageous levels of pure brain rot comedy. Comedy that is so cringe it actually makes you turn inside out. And that in turn is why it's funny. Funny for a different reason. Which were not affected by the low IQ debuff. Yeah, exactly. Ed, Ed and Eddie is actual comedy, not brain rot. But my point being is that level of dopamine hit from watching an actual funny cartoon just doesn't hit hard enough these days. Aha, we sold an elk plushie. Yoink. Yeah, it's all fucking skibbity toilets these days, isn't it? Kids flipping looks maxing and all sorts of weird shit going on. I blame Americans. I love you, Team NA. But your level of influence on the world is not necessarily positive. Also, the fact that we couldn't get Ed, Ed and Eddie on demand only when it was on TV. That's true, yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, I used to... My evening used to evolve around the fact that 6 PM, The Simpsons was on. And at 6, you'd either eat food, you'd eat your dinner, and if dinner was served at like 5:50, right, you would fucking inhale that shit because The Simpsons was on the telly at 6 and you were not missing The Simpsons kind of thing. That level of like, that in a weird way developed a habit for routine and structure from a very young age, which I genuinely don't believe young people have these days. Genuinely don't believe and it in no way, shape, or form is it their fault. It's just they haven't been taught this shit. Genuinely haven't been taught it. No ability to keep to a schedule or follow timelines or adhere to standard rules of life. Fuck, it's boomer time. I didn't mean to. Sorry. This is pre-coffee Manthius. Odie with the 6. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. Thank you for the tier 1. Get off my lawn. Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab. I never liked Dexter's Lab.
Is that your
Dexter
wallet?
annoyed me.
You just glad
Now
to
I know
see me.
Dexter was meant to annoy
Both,
you,
I hope.
but he annoyed me too much. Cow and Chicken was funny. I liked, I didn't watch too much of Ed, Edd and Eddy. Johnny Bravo was kind of funny. Loot Fever with the 11. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support this morning, boys and girls. Thank you. Aaron Chicken pissed me off because I remember thinking, how thick can you be watching it? Really? Oh, what did Cow and Chicken ever do? Cow and Chicken was the kids' equivalent of flipping Beavis and Butthead, though, wasn't it? Kind of. But then you'd grow up and you'd end up watching, like... No, not Powerpuff Girls. But yeah, I don't know. Cartoons hit different today. Or the fact that I don't really think that, like, cartoons really exist that much anymore. I really can't get into my rhythm today, though. We've posted everything. Let's get the rest of this back in the wall bank. You want to make kids stop using something, start using it yourself. It will die off so fast. Yeah, if all people over the age of 30 start going 6, 7, then kids will stop it within about 4 minutes flat. Yeah. It just strips it of all coolness. Brother and sister are 8 years younger than me, so it used to drive me mad along with Barney and Bananas in Pajamas. That's interesting. I'm about 10 years... I'm 8 and 10 years older than my brother and sister as well, so I can definitely relate to being old enough to think that the shitty cartoons are shitty, yeah.
Goodbye.
I'm already applying that logic in my house. Yeah, just kids pick up a habit that you don't like, just do it yourself, and it'll be so uncool so fast that they'll never do it again. That's smart. Smart move. Ah, oh, fuck a duck. I've done it again. Oh, I was cleaning out all of my bags and putting a bunch of stuff in the wall bank yesterday. I don't mean to move everything to my bags because it crashes it because it's trying to do too much. Shortfall to bags button has a heart attack if you try and do too many items in one go. That's how I got my nephews to stop dabbing. Do it, yeah. Do it a couple of times yourself. Yeah, they'll never do it again. Never again. Assuming the same duration for 13.0, The Last Titan Alpha, after Midnight's release on March the 2nd. March the 2nd plus 402 days equals April the 8th, 2027. GTA 6 is safe. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. It's kind of frustrating me that my PlayStation 5 that I bought nearly a year ago now is still in its box gathering dust. If they fucking turn around and say they're going to launch GTA 6 on PC global release, I'll lose my... Well, let me put it this way, I'll sell the PlayStation. Wonder why TSM can't update the script for the wallbank to slow it down. Like, Bagnator can move the items fine because there's a slight delay between the item batches. There's an awful lot of stuff TSM could do. But I know there's an awful lot of stuff TSM don't do because they just don't have the passion for it anymore. That is not me saying that the devs of TSM don't play the game. I just don't think they have anywhere near the same passion for it anymore. And it's possibly a level of complacency from being the top spot add-on for this kind of stuff for a while. I don't know. I know myself, when I'm chasing somebody else, I have a lot more hunger to do it. I think TSM has a sniff of that. They'll launch it on the PS6. Well, yeah, all that. I'll end up being one of those weird people that has like a games console boxed and sealed like 10 years after, and it will be worth twice the price I paid for it because it's boxed and sealed or something. Imagine these days if you had like a boxed and sealed PS2 or something like that. That shit's worth crazy money. Goblin long game IRL, that's it, yeah. And if I need 500 euros quickly, I'll just sell it. I'm really liking this Goblin Toolbox add-on, by the way. It's a bit fucking huge on the screen right now. That's only because I've got this window full screen. Usually I have them the windows this sort of size. So at least on my screen I can read this quite comfortably. I'm sure via the stream, because the stream's shrunk down to 1080p, it might be a little difficult to see this on the stream, but for me, like at full resolution, I can see this quite nicely. Can you change the background opacity? Don't know. Not yet, I don't think. But it's probably an easy slider to add. Goblin Toolbox is Woo's little add-on that he's been developing. If you hop in the Discord, I've given it its own little channel. Woo doesn't have his own Discord or anything like that, so I offered up make a little channel for it where he can put notes about it. It's not on CurseForge yet. Obviously, when it's on CurseForge, you can update everybody's easily, but he's still building it out and has given it to a few people to test. It's informative more than it is anything else. The concept of it is to help us. Concept is to help replace some of the weak auras that some of us have often used for little odds and ends. But consider it plumber, but for goblins, is the way I'm describing it. It's not my add-on for reference, but it's the way I'm describing it. Few sales here as well. A Reigns of Poseidus. Alright, sure. Oh, finally, I sold a Brill coffin. I've been really struggling to shift those. Right, don't make the same mistake again. There we go. For reference as well, there was actually a bit of a glitch in TSM's DB region sale average price on Decor. Some people had sort of spotted that the prices didn't seem to really be updating. And also the fact that I'd been using my custom price sources for valuing the lumber. They were based off the DB region sale average of the Decor items, and so if one wasn't updating, the other wasn't updating. TSM did actually confirm it was a bit bugged and have fixed it now. And interestingly, you can now see far more realistic values for the lumber, and you can see how it's come down in price over about a week. basically no lumber that's really worth over 600 gold now. So it's steadily creeping downwards. Dornic lumber, 200 less than 250 gold a piece now. Sale rate wasn't updating either. Yeah, there was a few things that were glitched. Somebody's poked around at the back end and is supposedly fixed stuff now. But it's also meant that a lot of my listing operations have self-righted, and I've actually been posting a lot more of the cheaper decor stuff that had just
Be careful.
well, basically I wasn't previously. I'm now starting to. I'm posting things a bit cheaper, but it has helped with snagging a few more sales. But yeah, it's interesting to see the lumber values now. Coldwind lumber still seems to be the one that's holding strong, along with Alemba lumber, which is Outlands and Wrath lumbers. Seem to be the two that hold the most value. So get crafting your Burning Crusade decor, get crafting your Wrath of the Lich King decor.
Well,
If you're still on it, that is. I've long since stopped actually farming, but I like to have the data to see what's going on. My PS4 is like that. I never owned a PS4. It's the only PlayStation console I have never owned. I had the 1, I had the 2, I had the 3. I, for some reason, skipped the 4, and I have a 5 that is technically never been taken out of its box. Well, no, that's not true. I have the 5 Pro, but I guess that still is classed as a 5, right? Never owned a PS4 throughout its entire life. Yeah, owned a PSP. I actually still have the very first original PSP. Shit, I wonder if I know where it is. I couldn't find my PSP, but what I did find, which was quite funny, was my my Cataclysm World of Warcraft MMO mouse. Check out that thing with the buttons on the side. I can hardly touch it anymore because it's got that weird like rubber grip stuff, which as it is aged has gone like sticky. So it's actually gross, but a relic from the past. Kind of annoyed me now. I don't know where my original PSP is. All the little games for what were those what were they called? The little the cartridges that they used for it. The little discs in them. Can't remember what they were called. They gave them some typical Sony proprietary name, didn't they? PS Vita. I never owned a Vita, actually. I never owned the PS Vita. But they were just flipping cheapo versions of the proper PSP anyway. There were these things called bins. You can throw things in to get rid of stuff from your house. The irony is that that's so old. That's come to Finland with me from the UK. And it was probably worth putting in the bin before I even moved here. In hindsight. Reckon we'll get another surge in Decor once Midnight comes out? Depends what your definition of surge is. Will more people want to buy it? Yes. Does that mean it will be more profitable? No. There's it's often like, you know, will there be a season 2 of something? Well, yes, probably, but it probably won't be as good as season 1. Because season 2 rarely is. Oh, fuck, I've done it again. I've tried to move the old lot. Oh, now I've ballsed it.
How may I aid you?
Put everything back, try again. $600k today off Decor, but it was 9 hours of farming and posting whilst watching streams. I mean, if you've gone from, if you're literally 600k richer after 9 hours, I mean, that's still a what? Quick maths, 80k an hour? It's not bad, is it? Like, at this point in the expansion, you cannot ask for better than that. Like, towards the end of an expansion, you are usually lucky if you can break 20k an hour. So to be like, literally quadrupling that sort of value, kind of crazy. If you're just purely looking to make the liquid gold number go up, it's still an incredible way of making gold right now.
Traveler?
Token up to 428. Yeah, there's too much going on outside of the World of Warcraft. Too much going on. Diablo pre-order has probably helped bump the token up quite substantially. There was a slight dip in tokens when Decor came out, but, you know, it was pushed right back up again by everything else that's going on, so not really that surprising. You just wait till we get into pre-patch. We won't be far off 500k tokens by the time pre-patch launches, once Christmas is out the way. Flipping crashed again. it worth flogging all the war within mats now or saving them? I mean, I'd sell everything. Sell everything. What's the worst that happen? What's the worst that can happen? You buy it back again? Sell everything.
Well met.
Never ever. There's hardly ever a reason to ever save anything. Always sell it now. If you're happy with the price you can get for it now, sell it now and don't look back.
Go in peace. Be careful.
I pretty much don't care what time of the year or part way through an expansion we are. I live by that rule pretty aggressively. Just, if you're happy with the price you can sell something for, sell it. You can always buy it back again. But 99 times out of 100, you don't need it. And the gold can be more useful to you. Materials are something that historically does nothing but go down in value. From when they exist, you know, they historically only ever go down in value. It's not a commodity that you should hold on to for any duration of time. There are very, very few things in this game that are worth holding on to for a reasonable amount of time, and materials are definitely not one of them. Which means if you've farmed materials, sell the damn things. If you've opened up a random guild bank that's got a bunch of mats in, take it out and sell them now as almost as high priority. Some gold now is better than no gold later. I also went through a few of my tunes yesterday for on the flipping realms and was able to. Why does my logout macro not work? I was able to give all of them warband access yesterday, which normalized the gold on all of my characters again, and it was nice to see my warbank gold actually spiked up by a few million, which means that we've been making a nice steady profit with the cross realm flipping over the last couple of months. It's cool. Now, I don't know if we've been making more profit to counteract the 2 million gold a month it cost me to have 5 accounts open or not. I didn't look into it in that much detail, but warbank total is definitely going up some, so. Oh, not got a lot here, have we? Not a lot here. Same mistake again.
Go in peace.
Isn't it that the less people buy tokens for dollars, the more they are in gold, the more they buy dollars, the gold. It's not a one-sided transaction, it's a two-sided transaction. It depends on how the more people that buy token, like it's a supply and demand thing. It's not a case of more of this or more of that. You have to take both into consideration. So a period of time where lots of people in game want to exchange their gold for Blizzard balance, lots of people will need to exchange lots of tokens. If at that same period of time there is less people using their credit card to buy tokens, then the value of each token goes up. And on the flip side, if there's no reason for people in game to cash out their gold to Blizzard balance, but there's lots of reason for people to want to swipe their credit card to get gold, for example, like in an expansion launch, then that's when the token value crashes, because every token that is created is worth less if there's more of them in the pot. You can't look at it just from one side. You've got to look at both the supply and the demand. That's what dictates the price.
Well met.
Now, Blizzard have always tried to claim to us that it's, you know, it just naturally fixes itself. Over the years, I've been less and less convinced that it is, that Blizzard aren't behind the scenes, you know, controlling things a little bit, but it's meant to be a fluid and dynamic price based upon how many tokens are in the pot, I suppose. More tokens in the pot, the less each one is worth. The less tokens in the pot, the more each one is worth. How long did you farm the lumber for the decors? Oh, I haven't farmed any lumber. I mean, past like day 2 of decor, I've not farmed anything. This is all me flipping it. This is all me buying it when I find it cheap and taking it somewhere where it's not so cheap. Farming it's far too much like hard work. I work smart, not hard. Starting to get quite a supply of decor on this realm as well. Enough that doing this cancel scan might push me into throttle territory. Oof. How do you find good deals? What add-on are you using for it? Well, I fall back on TSM Sniper for the most part. But short term, I've been using Point Blank Sniper. In the Discord, in the housing, if you jump into the Discord in the housing and Decor channel, there's the Point Blank Sniper list I use. You're looking to do the same, of course. Okay, it's not finding that one for some reason. Is flipping Streamlabs not alive today? Why is Streamlabs not alive today? What's he doing? Did you know you can only have 20 campsites? You mean with Volperas? Is that true?
Greetings.
Oh, fuck, I've pressed the button again.
May the
Stop.
eternal sun shine upon thee.
Oh! I see, those campsites. I didn't know that, no. Well, that makes sense. You can only have 70 characters, right? To fill any more than 20 campsites, you'd need at least 80 characters on an account, which you can't have. So,
How may I
it seems like an odd thing to put a restriction on, but I kind of see why they've done it. Crash, don't crash, don't crash. It's clearly going to crash. Crash, doesn't it? This is why I keep my login, log out times optimized. Means I can log out the character and log back in the character to fix any of these warbank issues real fast.
well met?
Is Streamlabs now in chat? Streamlabs is now in chat. The commands should work again. There we go. There we go. Yeah, the housing and decor channel. The housing and decor channel it's in the midnight section right now. I know it's not midnight yet, but it's whatever. There's some resources on housing and decor. The ones that will be of value to people is my custom price sources for how I determine what lumber is worth. There's a bunch of these. You'll need to open the whole thing if you plan on importing these to your TSM. There's the point blank sniper list that I use. And then I just recommend searching with a percentage of DB region sale average. TSM groups without the operations for all the decor grouped by lumber type, or if you prefer, grouped by the profession, whichever form of organization you prefer. So there's some info in there. Hop in, say hi. And obviously, as we get into midnight, there'll be a bunch of like mini profession guides in there as well. Hey, Bakoto, how are we doing? Welcome in. How do? How do? Hope you're well. That's where all the cheap candles, bottles, and beanie bags went. I was wondering why I couldn't find any cheap ones anymore. I can't sell these for these flipping beanbag chairs, man. To be fair, I've sold 4 of them, but I've bought 23 of them. So they're fucking annoying. And it's crashed again. How many times have I logged this character in and out now?
Greetings, traveler. Goodbye.
Let's try that again. It was weird last day of work. After that, I'm jobless as my contract ended. Guess I'll have a lot of time to make some gold. Oh well, next year. I hope you're financially alright, my friend. Cancel that sub if you're not. I appreciate it all the same, but don't be throwing money at me that you don't have. Scary being jobless. I'll survive. Good stuff. How can I use the housing decor list in Discord in the sniping tool? Well, point blank sniper. You have a shopping list, right? You have an auctionator shopping list. So I have a housing point blank snipe list. This has got every single piece of... What is that not got? Oh yeah, because that's got things in itself. This has got every single piece of decor in. And then you use point blank sniper. You select that shopping list. Then you select the price source you want to use. I recommend using regional sale average. And then you select a percentage and it will show you ones under 45% of the DB region sale average if they exist. And it's as simple as that. Obviously, this is... You got to remember that I do this on every single server across the entire EU. If you're looking to just buy and sell on the one realm or 4 or 5 realms, you are probably not going to want to use the same settings I use. I use very strict settings so that I very rarely see anything, but I only see the absolute best deals. But when I'm searching across 80 realms, I only need 5 or 10 really, really good deals, you know? It's, you might want to be slightly less strict if you're getting going. I also shoot. I was talking about this a little bit in the Discord the other day. I shoot for the real long-term stuff. I don't mind if I spend 10 million gold now. If I can turn it into 20 million gold, but it takes me a year, I'm happy, right? A lot of people, though, when they start flipping, they need quick, they need fast. People don't usually have tens of millions of gold to spend on stuff that may or may not sell in the future. People want, you know, those quick flips, which is often why I don't really share all of my settings as much as people would probably like me to, but it's because they don't really work for a lot of people. At the beginning of an expansion, for example, your flipping needs to be like instant. You can have lesser margin, but on stuff you know you're going to be able to flip really quickly. I also don't touch mats. Materials in general, I basically don't flip. I might squirrel away a few things knowing in 4 months' time we're going to have, you know, a new season. I do a little bit of that, but I'm certainly not trying to flip materials on a day-by-day. That's far too much babysitting for me. So these are where you've got to be careful and just taking some content creators' settings and plugging them in, because they might not actually work very well, depending on what your situation is. How do you have ads when you have Prime? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure a Prime sub removes the ads anymore. I think it's only actual tier subs that remove ads. I think. I'm not sure. I will be brutally honest with all of you. I've had Twitch Turbo since the day Twitch Turbo existed, so I never see an ad anywhere on Twitch. Never once see an ad anywhere. Twitch Turbo is the best. I don't even know how much it is. Flipping hell. What's Twitch Turbo these days? 12, 15 euros? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's definitely worth it. The amount of time I spend on the platform. Prime sub does remove ads on the channel you sub to, but it used to be that Prime removed ads from all the channels. Oh, okay. Okay, so if you drop a Prime sub here, you wouldn't see the ads, but it doesn't work the same as Turbo then. Okay. I knew there was some subtle difference between Prime subs and Tier 1 subs. Okay, we sold a few things here. 40k. This is what I like about Decor. You don't need to sell that many items for it to, like, you know, 50k here, 50k there. It adds up.
How may I aid you?
DB region sale average was fine for me at the start, but now I'm considering the lumber value, the overall region quantity, and sale rate when buying for flips. Yeah, I'm only sort of showcasing a very simplistic way of doing it. I actually haven't bought any decor for a few days now, but the reason being is because I know that I'm about to turn World of Warcraft off for a week, meaning I didn't want to be buying a bunch of stuff now because I don't have the opportunity to even resell it because I won't be logging in. I'll pick up the purchasing again when we get back after Christmas. Pretty disappointed that I hardly sold anything, but then by the end of the day, it was still 150k. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you don't need too many sales, and they add up. They add up quite quickly. I mean, it's not quite the Shadowlands legendary days where we would open a mailbox for 5 million gold every day, but that was mental. That was actually mental. Can you show how to do the sniping part again? Or do you have Auctionator and do you have Point Blank Sniper? There's not a huge amount to it. You import the shopping list. So you go, you know, if you've got Auctionator shopping, can't move this over, you'll have to look. You just import the shopping list here. So then you'll get your shopping list. Then you click on the sniping tab, which brings you up Point Blank Sniper. Select that shopping list from the top. And then you probably want to use DB Recent, maybe, if you're only doing this on a single realm. DB Region Sale Average if you're doing this across many realms. And then you slap a percentage in and you hit search. And it goes off and it will show you any item below your search criteria. I'm on a realm where I'm not going to find any cheap stuff, so... Don't expect to find lots. Can you bring Stanley back next year? I miss him. Maybe. Maybe. Are you primarily making gold through housing decor still? It's the thing I'm focusing on now. I flip on all 82 EU realms, so that's probably the main way of which I make my gold. Decor just, you know, fits in with that routine.
May the eternal sun
The one sale we made on this realm isn't even decor. Yeah, there we go.
How may I aid you?
Oh!
Goodbye.
Flip in. Press that stupid button every time. Then it kills my logout button for some reason.
Greetings, traveler.
Flipping is sort of the foundation of my goal making for me these days. Flipping is the thing that I will do all the time, but then there might be, you know, if there is a thing that is popping at the time, such as decor turning up, then we will switch focus to that while it's hot, you know?
Be careful.
And then you snipe on every realm looking for good deals, or just the one realm. Well, that sniping list is just for decor right now. There's usually only a few realms I end up actually buying stuff from. Because you kind of learn where the deals are going to be. As far as decor is concerned, at the moment, I'd be very, very cautious getting into flipping decor right now, because the quantity of it is really stacking up high. And if you actually look at just how much of it exists, there's not really that many gaps in the market anymore. It was profitable for me to do a week or so ago, simply because there was lots of it on the big servers and basically none of it on the small servers. Whereas now, it's already mostly being distributed. There's not really that many gaps on most servers anymore, I don't think. So if you haven't started, I would be very cautious starting now. We're already starting to see the sale rate and the price of Decor, you know, creep downwards.
Well met.
That's not to say there won't be, like, the odd occasional deal out there, but flipping's also something that you kind of have to do at scale, which means you gotta jump in with 2 feet when the going is good. For example, I spent about 4 million gold on Decor in less than 48 hours to then, you know, syndicate it across 22 realms. I spent the vast majority of the gold on buying the Decor about 10 days ago. And I've only bought the odd occasional sort of absolute bargain ever since.
Go in peace.
Minus 700 gold per hour. Yeah, when we're doing this, you can ignore the numbers that pop up in the corner. Going into midnight, I will probably tailor a Goblin Guide to Midnight more towards the overall Goblin like lifestyle, whereas a Goblin Guide to Midnight was hyper focused on crafting. I think this time round it makes a lot more sense to put a little bit more focus on the farming, the crafting, and the flipping a little bit more evenly. Because getting good at all 3 skills does really help. Decor's been really interesting for that. Decor's really showcased that you need to be able to succeed well with Decor, you do kind of need to be a well-rounded goblin, which is what's separating a lot of people now. This is why you see a bunch of people who seem to still be able to make huge amounts of gold with Decor every single day, and you're also seeing a lot of people turn around and complain that Decor is incredibly difficult to make gold with. And it's, in my opinion, it's because goblins who are well-rounded and well-versed in both farming, crafting, and selling on the auction house kind of have that foundation of knowledge on how to do each one reasonably well. And Decor kind of forces you, unless you're going to do my approach, which is just to flip, Decor kind of forces you to be good at all 3 major aspects of gold making. Because you got to farm the lumber. You absolutely have to farm the lumber. Then you've got to know your way around what to craft, how to craft, sort of side of things. And you've also got to have, you know, some past history in most cases of having lots of professions and having them backdated. And you also then need to have a good understanding of the auction house side of things on how to actually properly sell your stuff. You've got to be pretty well-rounded to see success with Decor, which has made it quite an interesting little market for me. One that at face value looks pretty simple. Oh, you go whack some trees, craft some stuff, and throw it on the auction house. The nuance of it means that when it gets competitive, you've kind of got to be good at 3 different skills, which clearly not everybody is yet. I think Elon did like 5 to 10 mil in the first. Well, I mean, Elon was spending an awful lot of time Elon was a good example of somebody that was able to hit Decor being relatively well-rounded. He was able to, from day one, have a dual box druid gathering. So he was able to collect a lot of lumber very quickly, and he was also willing to spend a lot of time doing it. I am sure Elon was spending like 5 hours a day farming lumber. So he was ending the day with a huge amount of lumber to craft with. He had spent the last couple of months leveling up all of his professions so that he didn't have to waste any time doing that when it went live. He already had every profession leveled from every expansion, so all he had to do was fly around and pick up the recipes. So he'd put the time and effort in ahead of time to get that set up. So he was able to craft a bunch of stuff. And he also knows the auction house game, right? So he knew that he would have to cancel scan to get his shit sold. And he did. And he was able to capitalize on those first few days of sales. And I think he made just under 10 million gold in the first week, I think.
Well met.
But that's because, he wasn't really having to learn anything. He knew everything ahead of time, had everything set up. Soon as Decor turned up, he just had to do it, right? And that's why he was able to capitalize on that early market so well. I can't even concentrate for like 30 minutes farming lumber. Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. I just can't do the farming. I don't have the stomach for it. I don't have the patience. Which is why I did a little bit of farming for the first couple of days, but I very quickly pieced out of that. I was like, no, not for me. I'd done 7 mil by day 3. I missed 1 day aside from 1 hour, though, because of some appointments. Yeah, I mean, it was very heavily based on just, how much lumber could you farm. The bottleneck was not really so much selling it, nor was it crafting it. It was just having the lumber. Now, enough time has passed that you look at the actual supply of crafted decor across the region right now, it's pretty ridiculous. There is, it's starting to really stack up now. So that early bird market has passed now. Oh no, I've pressed that button. Stop. Epic now. Wish I'd stopped doing this. This is called not focusing on what the hell you're doing. I wouldn't have changed my professions all the time since Dragonflight, fucking them all up. I'd have been filthy rich by now, and I'm not even a goblin. Never, ever, 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 ever drop your professions. Rule 1. Never, ever, ever, ever drop your professions. Far too easy to spin up an alt now. You only need 4 characters to have all crafting professions. No reason to ever drop a profession. You'll always lead to regret it.
Goodbye. May the eternal sun shine upon thee.
Saw Black Lotus for 500 gold before Decor. Was like, oh, that's expensive. It's massively overinflated in the EU. It's just hard to get though. It's a market that's easy to monopolize because nobody can go out and just farm a bunch of it easily. So the stock that exists is, kind of like diamonds. You can buy it all up and drip feed a few back out at a high markup, then There's not a lot anybody else can do about it, which is why Black Lotus is a 20-year-old material that is worth multiple thousands of gold right now. Kind of a bit silly. But it's also nothing Blizzard's ever going to do anything about. Makes it more fun. I wish I didn't have engineering and enchanting on one toon, but it made sense at the time. Like, it used to be a lot more of a thing. I think the last time it's really made... I think Shadowlands was probably the last time where there was any actual value to pairing up correct professions. And that was only because you had to craft... It was the crafter's mark system. And because the crafter's marks were soulbound, you needed to pair up, like, if you wanted the cheapest crafter's marks often came from alchemy. So pairing alchemy with a leatherworker, for example, was a really odd combination under normal circumstances, but it was the way back in Shadowlands to make the cheapest crafted gear. Because you could make alchemy made the cheapest crafter's marks, and then you could take the low crafting cost of that crafter's mark and make a piece of crafted gear with it, giving you the cheapest overall price for that piece of gear. But that was really the last time pairing professions together was really a thing. I don't remember much since that really mattered.
Well met. Go in peace.
Black Lotus can keep rising. My apothecary's work tables are happy. I'm sure they are. Sure they are.
Greetings.
Pairing enchanting with everything was the way in the War Within. No. Having lots of enchanters was helpful. There wasn't any deliberate synergy with enchanting to anything else. It was just enchanting was the best use of concentration. There was nothing that you were doing with enchanting that directly affected the crafting cost of another profession. Nothing that couldn't be done by having an enchanter over here on one character and a completely different character with different professions. Oh, I mean, yes, of course, the artisan security aspect of it. But the shuffle... Who's this Bakoto fella? Who's this Bakoto fella? Get off my server. Arguably, you could level enchanting, harvest all of the artisan security, and then drop it. That was kind of the point. That was the point of the shuffle. But kind of glad they've nuked that now. Real silly. Kind of fun at the time, but real silly. Another one of those things that I was forced to take advantage. You know, I felt forced to do the shuffle because, well, you know, I want to be competitive. Part of being competitive was sometimes you have to do things you don't really want. But I'm also very glad that they've, you know, put the nail in that coffin. Because the shuffle was a bit gross.
How may I aid you? Be careful.
Moxie is going to play a much bigger part, I think, in the War Within. Our general progress with each profession is going to be significantly more hindered now by the fact that we don't have a shuffle. I really want them to just hurry up and put Moxie on all the profession tools so that we get a better understanding of just exactly how much Moxie we might need, what sort of pacing the professions are going to take because of it. Because if they go slap 300 Moxie on each profession tool accessory, we need 900 Moxie in total. That is going to basically determine that you are not going to be able to max build your professions for like a good few weeks, regardless of what you do elsewhere, because you're just not going to have access to the Moxie. Whereas if they put a more modest amount on the profession tools and accessories, everybody will get them much faster and the markets will crash much quicker. So, like, there's an awful lot balancing on just how much Moxie they give us and where we need to spend it. The fact that you need 150 Moxie for every single recipe, and quite many professions are going to require a lot of recipes. Means that it, now that we've seen most everything else they want to do with professions, shit's not balanced yet, of course, and there's still bugs and stuff all over the place, but we've seen mostly what they're shooting for. The last final sort of piece of the puzzle for me is the acquisition of Moxie. Oh, for reference, Moxie is Artisan Security, but for Midnight. It's the same mechanic, it's just different name. Soulbound premium currency for crafting. Because a lot of guaranteed crafting is going to rely on you having your 3 at least rare profession tools and accessories. And if they cost like 300 a piece, you're not going to be able to get those until you've accrued at least 900 Moxie. Absolutely everybody could be held back from a min-max build for a duration of like easily 4 weeks if they make the Moxie requirements quite high. Which, if that's the case, if you know that that's the true ultimate limitation, you can then also plan how you play with the rest of the professions around that fact. There's no point then zerging knowledge points if you're going to be bottlenecked by Moxie. If you can end up getting a lot of Moxie and then you don't need a lot of Moxie, then the bottleneck becomes something else, and that has to be the thing you focus on. I'm already thinking that there's going to be absolutely no rush, like literally no rush with professions in Midnight.
Goodbye.
The rush in the War Within with professions was because a shuffle existed, and the shuffle was both expensive and time-consuming to do. But it became mandatory to do to get that 100 plus 40 build so that you could start guaranteeing things. But if they carefully control the amount of Moxie we can get, then they can also, at the same time, carefully control just how long it's going to take everybody to get that max build. And they can also then, by proxy of that, guarantee a duration of time where high quality crafts will only exist with concentration. So there'll be a window of opportunity for concentration crafters. It literally all depends on just how fast you can get those 3 rare profession tools. If you can get enough Moxie in the first week to get your 3 profession tools, that will also mean that people will be able to start guaranteeing things within the first week as well. This is why it all rests on
Well met.
All rests on Moxie now. We're getting 10 per first craft instead of 5, but no idea what other ways to get it yet. It's the same with knowledge points. So every time you gain a knowledge point, you're going to gain 5 Moxie. Yes, you get 10 for first time crafts pretty much unanimously across the board from what I've seen. But there is not a free goodie bag of 350 Moxie. So that's a big deficit that we were just kind of given for free as a once per character thing at the beginning of the War Within. So that's a big deficit we're going to have to claw back. There's also no knowledge point books this time round. Moxie, I think, is being distributed on the profession treasures, though. So flying around picking up your 24 knowledge points from your profession treasures is going to give you about 120 Moxie in a very quick, deterministic way. That's good for that, plus a few first-time crafts is good for your first profession tool. But, you know, like I said, this is my point. It all very much, it's all balanced upon how much Moxie we need for the profession tools, which Blizzard are still clearly figuring it out, because is why they haven't put it on the profession tools yet. It's also going to be interesting to see just if they're going to put a different quantity of Moxie on the rare and epic profession tools as well. Because they could, as a way to make the epic profession tools like a chase item, give them like 50% more Moxie cost or something like that. Meaning you will still probably, in order to qualify to guarantee things at top quality, probably pick up your rare profession tools first, but then to optimize your crafting costs long term, you might then look at upgrading them to the epic ones slowly but surely down the line. That makes a very different market to if people know that they can get enough Moxie to buy the epic tool straight away. Like this is my point. Like it's the thing that's going to balance out how we play with professions at this point. And until we know how much of it we can both get and how much of it we need to spend, you can't really plan much further. Which is partly why I'm not looking at the beta too heavily at the moment. Because I've hit a point where, I can't build any more conclusion and I can't plan anything more effectively, nor can I guide you guys in the direction that is sensible to take if we don't actually have access to the answer yet.
Greetings, traveler.
No knowledge point books, still for an... Oh, yeah. Like, each profession will still have a knowledge point book that's obtained from a renown. But Lorendal, the Artisans Consortium dude, doesn't just sell you a book of knowledge points for an amount of Artisan Security, or Moxie in this case. There's no knowledge point books that just like... You could get 30 knowledge points just by trading in some Artisan Security in the War Within. And when we had a shuffle, there was ways to do both, right? There was ways to get enough Artisan Security to buy those knowledge point books, and you could also get your profession tools in timely fashion as well. That's why the shuffle was so powerful. If you did the shuffle, you could get everything. If you didn't do a shuffle, you had to choose. And that's where the problem lies, is that the person who has everything has a disgusting advantage over the person that has to choose left or right. Which is why I'm glad this time they've nuked that, because it's a bit unfair.
Be careful.
don't know if we need full builds to guarantee max rank for many things, though. While we do know that the plan is that that is to be the case, where we have seen items be balanced, they've been balanced around you needing a full build. There is lots of stuff that clearly hasn't been balanced yet, though. But on stuff that clearly has been balanced, it's been balanced in a way that you're going to need 140 skill, 100 from your profession bar, and then 40 from your tools and accessories. On the assumption that you get 140 skill from that top section of your profession window, then when you collect all of the skill from your spec tree, items that have clearly been balanced, then you're usually within 3 or 4 skill points. So they're balancing it along the same logic that you'll need basically everything to guarantee craft things. But yeah, like I said, the professions are still, I mean, we're still like 8 weeks away or whatever it is. We're still far enough away from completion that they haven't finished a lot of stuff. We took a little look at the professions on the beta a couple of days ago, and most of them were still very broken. What's my guess on the epic and the blues? Well, it's like going into midnight, you're going to have 2 very distinctly different types of crafters. You're going to have the crafter that is trying to mass produce stuff. That player will also need to, that player is going to need to, the player that wants to mass produce things, let's say you want to be an alchemist that wants to produce 10,000 potions to sell on the auction house, you're going to need to focus on getting to the point where you can guarantee stuff. So you're going to need all of the skill, you're going to need your profession tools, and you're going to need 100 points in alchemy. But secondly, you're also going to need to optimize your cost whilst doing that, which will mean that you will at least eventually need those epic tools and accessories because they have the most stats on them. More stats equals cheaper crafting cost. But the cost of those tools, if the epic ones end up costing significantly more moxie, you might not have access to enough moxie within reasonable time to actually shoot for the epic ones first. You might kind of actually have to buy the blue ones first and then decide which ones you're going to go epic with and at what point. Like I said, these are all the decisions that you can't. It's like trying to solve a maths equation without half the numbers. You just can't do it yet. We're still missing vital pieces of the puzzle to see exactly how it will play out. And the amount of moxie that they put on the epic tools changes this equation. If they don't cost much moxie at all, you'll probably jump straight. And if you can get enough to jump straight to the epic ones, you will do that. If you can't get enough moxie within reasonable time to jump straight to the epic ones, you might be forced to pick up the blue ones first just to unlock your ability to mass craft something, because you'll want to make sure that by the time the demand kicks in, you're able to mass craft it, and you might not be able to do that if you haven't got your this is the thing, you just can't answer the question until you know all of the information. This is a very busy realm. What's going on here? Emerald Dream. They've been crazy busy out here, look. Is it going to be profitable to do professions in midnight? Oh, absolutely. The beginning of an expansion is always ridiculously profitable because everything's new and most people don't want to do it. But the people that do it get the luxury of charging a premium for doing it. When there is new delves, new dungeons, new raids, new characters to level, new zones to explore, new rares to farm, new mounts to collect, new everything. Most players in the game do not have professions and goal making very high on their priority list, which means those players are forced into paying a premium from the people who have chosen to spend their time on professions.
Goodbye.
Which, good for us. Very good for us.
Greetings, traveler.
Moxie being valuable and no knowledge point books will make the weekly knowledge point grind that more important, I guess. Yeah, these are other factors that we have to start considering about what will be the optimum way to do things.
May the eternal sun shine
If there is no knowledge point books, if your source of Moxie predominantly comes from you obtaining knowledge points after you've done first time, because obviously first time crafts are a one-time thing, right? You get 10 Moxie, sure, but that's once only. You craft something once, it's done. What you look at is what are the things I do every week to get my Moxie? If it ends up being that you need to farm as many knowledge points every single week, then frustratingly, things like patron orders start to become incredibly important, that you are doing all of your patron orders that give you knowledge points, and that you are not missing or skipping any of them. But it's all based on timings. It's all based on just how much of the stuff you need.
How may
There's
I
lots of variables in it. People like me enjoy figuring all of this shit out, but the reason I'm not trying very hard to figure it out at the moment is because the information's not there to figure it out. Once they put Moxie values on the profession tools and accessories, we'll have pretty much 90% of the pieces of the puzzle to be able to start figuring out what we're going to do with it and how the best way to attack it is going to be. What's a good date you think to look into moat acquisition? Right now, they're like 300 an hour, even not well spec'd. I'm not sure I understand the question. I would be one thing I would be very careful of is taking like hourly rates of materials via gathering off the beta. You can probably take whatever number you get on the beta and divide it by 2 by the time the game actually goes live. And the reason being is because on the beta, you've got 0 competition. There's nobody in their right mind is... Think about how many people that care about professions in the first place, and then think about how many of them are actually on the beta testing shit, right? Nobody in their right mind is flying around picking up herbs and ore on the beta, meaning every node is up and just sat there waiting for somebody to come along and pick it up. That doesn't happen at the start of an expansion. Not even close. You will permanently be finding there's competition on your gathering, and actually one of the skill gaps of gathering at the beginning of an expansion is how to get yourself on a realm or a shard that is underpopulated and has less competition on it, so that you can actually start pushing some good numbers. I wouldn't so much look at acquisition rates. I would look more at ratios, because the ratios will tell you what's the bottleneck. When you go out, and if you go out on the beta now and do an hour's worth of herbing and mining, ignore the total number, but just compare the numbers against each other. What are you getting more of? What are you getting less of? What's going to be the thing that will end up having higher value because there'll be less of it? What's the thing that's going to end up being cheaper because everybody will be getting more of it? Is there a clear and obvious bottleneck in that scenario? 300 an hour, for example, is great, but compared to what? If it's compared to 10 herbs, then there will be a massive oversupply of the motes. If you get 500 herbs at the same time, though, you'll still then probably find that the motes would be the bottleneck. It's looking at the ratio of what you get is probably more important. Don't get too blinded by the actual numbers you get, because you probably won't get those same numbers once it goes live. And it might also, and doing it on a completely bare naked herbing and mining character might actually also then help you figure out, well, what's going to be more valuable to spec into. Is specking into motes going to be more lucrative? If you already get a good amount of motes but you're lacking in herbs, you might want to choose to spec into herbs. So, you know, if that becomes the thing that you're predominantly making your gold from. If you can already pick up a good amount of motes, you might not need to spec into it. It might be better to spec into some other aspect, you know? This is what testing on the beta actually gives you. Ignore the quantity per hour. That doesn't really matter. And then try and look at the bigger picture. If you're doing herbing and mining, you want to know where those materials are going, who's buying those materials from you, and in what sort of quantity are they consuming them. There's a very, very interesting thing that happens at the beginning of the expansion that makes it super difficult to predict ahead of time. And it's that there is a huge consumption of materials that just get wasted. People leveling their profession is a huge drain on early materials, and it fools people into thinking that certain things are worth a lot more than they actually are. At the very beginning of an expansion, basic materials get absolutely hoovered up because it's the way people level up all of their professions. But people only need to level their profession once. When they stop leveling their profession, then the demand for all of those materials often just completely disappears and they start really stacking up. This is why some materials, you know, they spend the first few days at 30, 40 gold a piece, and everybody is like, oh, farming these, it's going to be like Christmas, all expansion. And then out of nowhere, 3 days later, they cost like 5 gold a piece. And it's because people consumed them en masse at the beginning to level up the profession, and then they stopped buying them because they weren't consistently being consumed. And there's this transition in the first couple of weeks of an expansion where you then move into what is being heavily consumed in and going into consumable stuff. So what's going into your gems, your enchants, your potions, stuff that is going to be in steady demand throughout the rest of the season, not just that first 2-week period where everybody's leveling their professions. This is why I think motes are going to be the bottleneck more so than anything, because when you look at things like alchemy that is using just a disgusting amount of motes everywhere, you can't move for needing motes with alchemy. Sure, they consume herbs, but you've also got to remember that those motes are also being consumed by every other flipping profession as well. Motes, it's great that we're able to farm up a bunch of motes at the moment, but I'm still not totally convinced they're going to be that readily available when every single crafter, you got your enchanters pulling from enchanting uses huge amounts of motes, and look how many goddamn concentration alts are going to pop up for enchanting. Alchemy is the biggest general consumer of stuff, because if every single potion consumed, every single flask that is consumed is taking motes, they're going to get up. You know, the auction house is going to get stripped of them every reset day. Herbs are used in 2 professions. Motes are used in all the professions, apart from blacksmithing. Weirdly, it's just an anomaly. This is why I've always, from the word go, have looked at motes being the bottleneck. more so than everything else. This is where, interestingly, me and Kachak seem to be going in different directions with our opinions. And I want to point out, these are opinions, by the way. Like, until the game goes live, it's all speculation. So I'm not stating this as fact. I'm stating this as opinion. From what I've seen so far, I tend to think that moats are going to be the bottleneck. Moats are going to act very much like Awakened did in Dragonflight. I suspect they will be probably the bottleneck of production for many people. If people can get their moats cheap enough, they will have a better crafting cost. When your herbs are easily going to end up being 10 to 20 gold a piece, yet your moats could easily be 100 to 250 gold a piece. A 10% saving on your moat is worth a lot more than a 10% saving on your herb. That's exactly what we saw throughout all of Dragonflight, that he who got his Awakened order the cheapest won. Hence why they were flipping baited on the auction house the entire expansion. Herbs and ore can tend to stack up because they're also then processed by alchemists, by scribes, by jewel crafters, and they're processed into a whole range of other useful materials and intermediates. But the moats are going to be consumed pretty heavily by basically every, like, proper consumable crafting profession. And then every time we have a spark, huge amounts of moats are going to get sucked up every day, like on Spark Day, by everybody looking to place orders for their crafted gear as well. So you got that steady, consistent demand from every single profession for these moats, and you're going to have these spikes on reset day when they get bought out, and then you'll have further spikes on them with everybody putting in their work orders for their top-end crafted gear and stuff. I'm hedging my bets towards the line that moats are like 250 gold a piece, and that your herbs will be like 10 to 20 gold a piece pretty quickly.
Well met.
I got with the 7 months, by the way. I did see that, but I was mini TED talking at the time. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Great use of the Prime. Hope you're having a good festive period. Getting Christmassy. Mr. Wu, how are you doing? Welcome in. Good morning to you. Goblin Toolbox. I don't think it's on... I don't think Wu's put it on CurseForge yet, but you can grab it from the Discord. You can install it manually and grab the latest version from Discord.
Be careful.
I work on my professions for the War Within right now. Outside of housing decor, will I be able to make any money? Not meaningful money, no. Certainly not if you haven't started them. There's a Goblin Toolbox channel in the Discord. It's a new channel in the War Within section, which is where Wu's posting the latest version of it. If you want to have a little bit of a playtest, I actually think I need to update my version as well. But there's already lots of useful things here. You do, yes. Okay, am I using an old one?
How may I aid you?
I hardly remember to update my add-ons via CurseForge, never mind doing them manually. Right, this is taking me way longer than I need to. I've got 4 realms to do. Right. I've got 4 elves to do. I'm going to take a quick break for 2 minutes, though, boys and girls. I want to grab a drink. I've been doing this for way too flipping long. I've been having too much fun chatting to you guys today and drinking coffee. I'll be back in 2. Alrighty. Right. How many sugars in my water today? I like to have 4 sugars in my Red Bull. Need to go dump the work stuff in the office. If I don't see you when I come back, thank you for the whole year of streams, the laughs, the massive profits. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. Ah, Chris, my man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Enjoy the remainder of your work day. And right back at you. Have a wonderful Christmas. Right, quick few cancel scans. I need to put these on flipping 12-hour listings. I have to faff around doing this every day. A fence post for 5k. Every little helps. We've not had a lot of sales today. We've not had a lot at all, have we? Right, it's fine. Keep things ticking over. Keep the graph going in the right direction. I need to set some goals, don't I, for 2026? I think my one goal for 2026 has got to be post at least more than one video a month on YouTube. This 2025 has been an absolute shit show for actual content outside of stream. I apologise greatly for that, as I really should put more effort into it. I don't quite know exactly how or why that happened, considering I was only earlier saying that like this year's felt more busy from a World of Warcraft perspective, so there's almost no excuse for my sheer lack of YouTube presence this year. Maybe I need to set myself a few targets to keep sort of a rhythm going.
Goodbye.
We'll blame the puppy. Well, yeah. Certainly in the last few months. I mean, I was able to churn out a few alpha videos, but I'm going to be brutally honest. 9 times out of 10, when I turn my stream off, it's probably you know, if I finish my stream at
Is that
like,
your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me?
it's often
Both, I
then usually a good 5 or 6 hours after I finish my stream before I even get a chance to sit back down again and do anything else. So this is partly why the YouTube side has been severely lacking in the last couple of months. But I don't want it to sound like I'm just making excuses. I do need to fix something. Yo, Mr. Norton with the 39 months. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome in, welcome in. Almost 3.5 years. Sheesh. Some big numbers. There's some big numbers. Big numbers out there now. It's kind of crazy to think that I've been streaming on Twitch for, I think, over 4 years now? Not even sure. It might be. Well, I can't remember. When I first reinvigorated the content creation thing a little over 5 years ago, we were on YouTube first. We didn't move to Twitch. I know it's a little bit different now because we multi-stream to both, but there was a period where we just streamed on YouTube. Then I switched it to just streaming on Twitch. And then when Twitch saw the light, we then upped it to streaming to both. But there's a fair few of you that have been around for the long haul now, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Well met.
Somebody has a 48 months or something like that. I'm pretty sure Derpalicious has one of the longest streaks. I'm pretty sure of that,
Be careful.
which has to be in the high 40 months, I think, now.
Greetings, traveler.
Okay, a couple more rounds to go. New to gold making, but I really wish it was straightforward to make gold with professions alone. Well, you have one thing you have to remember is that gold making is competitive. It doesn't, even though it's for the most part, a very solo adventure, it is still a very competitive part of the game. And things are only the way they are because of how competitive it is. Which is hence why, over the years, it's become more and more complex to make gold, because more and more people are finding out smarter ways to go about doing it. And it comes to a point where if you're the basic stuff, you know, doing the very basic stuff just doesn't make you any gold anymore. because one person making gold predominantly has to cost somebody else their gold. Minus a few things like, you know, flying around the map doing world quests. That's the game directly giving you gold. But there is a very, very, you know, there's a very low ceiling of opportunity on things where the game will just give you gold directly. You usually look to make gold by gaining it from another player. And so that's where the level of, like, you know, the level of competitiveness comes from it. Because everybody is trying to part everybody else from as much of their gold into their pockets as possible. But when everybody else is trying to do the same thing, this is why, you know, the auction house can get very competitive on certain things because people are desperate to make the sale. There's only so many people coming along looking to buy said thing. And there's usually way more people that want to be the one that sells it. This is why, unfortunately, over the years, there are less and less basic ways to make a bunch of gold just because there's more and more people that want it. Become arguably more popular. I know a lot of things like the professions and the spectries and things are often what, you know, the fingers pointed. The fingers pointed at, oh, this is too complicated. This is why I'm not making gold. But a little bit of a harsh reality for some people is that the reason why most people don't make gold is because they are simply not trying as hard as somebody else. There's somebody else out there that wants it more than you do. And when I say you, I'm not talking to any specific person. I'm just talking generally that, you know, the person, you know, can I often refer to as auction house PvP. And the auction house is very PvP. You know, if you walk it, if you to use an analogy, if you step into an arena match, you haven't bothered to get any good gear, you haven't enchanted it, you haven't gemmed it, you haven't got half your buttons on your bars, you're clicking, you're not using keybinds. If you've not put the effort in, you step into an arena match, you're going to get your ass handed to you. And you're not going to win, and you're not going to get that ranking. It's kind of the same with goal making these days. The players that have taken the time to figure out the best routes for farming materials, the players who have figured out how to use the most, you know, convenient add-ons to save time, the players that understand the market swings, when things are, you know, when is the demand for certain items, when are the materials cheapest to buy, the players that have figured all of this sort of stuff out stack up these little advantages, and so they win, and then they're the ones that end up making millions of gold.
Goodbye.
The thing that makes it somewhat more difficult, though, I mean, I use the analogy of arenas, but like in the PvE world, the game is broken into difficulty levels. And so you can play within your own difficulty banding. And so then people can, you know, they can get that feel-good, I win feeling in LFR, right? Whereas, you know, if you're a Mythic Raider, you look at LFR and you just laugh. The difficulty with goal making is that there is no difficulty levels. Everybody is in the same arena fighting it out. This is what the region-wide auction house... This is why the region-wide auction house changed the game for a lot of people. Because the region-wide auction house took us from a scenario where there was, like, in the EU, there's 82 different auction houses. In the EU, there was 82 different mini-arenas. And so it was easy to step into that arena and stand out and win because you were competing against only the people on your server. it was much easier to be a big fish in a small pond back before the region-wide auction house. Now the region-wide auction house has turned up. Everybody is fighting in the same arena. And this has basically meant a lot of players who used to find it really easy to make a bunch of gold because they could stand out on their small little server because there wasn't too many other people to compete against. All of a sudden, almost overnight, found their ability to make gold completely rug pulled from them because they all of a sudden were competing against people with far better knowledge, experience, add-on setups, and more importantly, time and effort to put into it. So retail has definitely been made more difficult and more complex to make gold, but it's not really for the reasons why most people think. Most people blame the fact that the professions are so complicated these days as the reason to why they don't make gold, when there's a lot more to it than that, and it's arguably not even the professions, in my opinion. If we had the same professions we have today, if we had the new age versions of the professions, but we still had 82 mini servers, so many people would be making so much more gold. It'd be so much easier to rise to the top, rise to the top on a small server. Whereas now, when everybody is competing against everybody, if your profession isn't as min-maxed as the top 1% of crafters, you're at a disadvantage. You have more expensive crafting costs. You will make less profit on everything that you sell. And in some cases, your profits actually get pushed into negative numbers because there are people that can hold the prices so very cheaply because their setup is so very optimized. It's kind of the game has not been made any easier in that regard. It's not any individual player's fault. You can install Craft Sim and you basically already have a lot of the information to start seeing the gold graph go up over time, albeit not as effectively as somebody else with more experience. Comparison is also the thief of joy with this. I mean, I'm clearly only adding to the problem, not the solution here. But the more you compare yourself against... I'm lucky. I've carved out a career path that allows me to sit and play this game in the way I enjoy and chat with you guys about it. And I can throw 40 hours a week at playing World of Warcraft. Because, because of the situation I'm in. What I can do in 40 hours a week is almost always going to outstrip even the most effective player that only plays the game 20 hours a week. That's not like anybody's fault. It's just simple maths, right? When you put me or somebody else who's able to play the game 40 hours a week, or if you compare me up against somebody that plays the game 80 hours a week, I will lose hand over fist to somebody that plays the game 80 hours a week. Time is a big factor. Time is a huge factor in this. In recent years, my response to people who try and look to get into goal making, the first thing I usually do is ask them why. And if their response is that they want to play the game for free, my next question is, how much time do you have? Because often you find the reason that people want to make gold and are looking for the better ways to make gold is because they don't actually have as much time to play the game as they would like. And to spend time, they look at something like farming herbs and they're like, well, I only get an hour or two an evening to play the game. When the kids are gone to bed or you finished your studies or whatever the case is, right? You only get a couple of hours to play the game in the evening. It's very likely that you think about doing an hour's worth of herbing and mining and it makes you feel ill, right? Because To do an hour's worth of herbing and mining, that's maybe 2 Mythic Plus dungeons that you're not doing. And if you know, if you want to push your Mythic Plus score, if you want to go run some more raids with the guild, a lot of people want to make gold in the game and they look for the quick and easy way to do it because they don't want to swipe their credit card, but they also don't have a huge amount of time to actually go out and do it. Making lots of gold in this game is a luxury for those people who have lots of time. I've never met a player in this game that has more than 10 million gold that doesn't have the ability to play the game that much. It just the two just doesn't the two just don't connect. Play the game for free, I need to spend several hours playing the game. To earn real money to play the game, I need to work my real job for 20 minutes. Then I can do what I enjoy in the game for several more hours a month. Yeah, it's often frowned upon in the goal making scene to suggest that somebody just swiped the credit card as a way to get the gold. But I strongly these days stand by the fact that it's often the right advice to give. Right? If you only get to play the game a few hours, a couple of hours maybe in the evening, less than 10 hours a week in total, you absolutely unless you really, really, really enjoy goal making, you probably shouldn't bother. You probably should just, because an hour's overtime allows you to swipe the credit card and have more gold, and you totally don't need to think about that aspect of the game and can just purely focus on the aspect that you enjoy the most.
How may I aid you?
So while it's often, like I said, it's often frowned upon as oh, just don't bother, just swipe, there are scenarios where I do really believe it's the right advice to give people.
May the eternal sun shine upon thee.
That's why goal making at the start of an expansional season is the most efficient time. Yeah, people can make so much gold at the beginning of an expansion. Like for 4 weeks at the beginning of an expansion, ignore the fact that there's a shitload of new pets and mounts and toys and transmog to collect. Focus on making some gold for the first few weeks of an expansion. Those transmogs, those pets, those mounts, those toys, those achievements, they're not going anywhere. And actually, by the time you've geared up a little bit, they'll probably be easier to get anyway. All of that new shiny stuff probably isn't going anywhere. But the opportunity to make gold hand over fist, lasts about 6 to 8 weeks at the beginning of an expansion. And if you just go ham for a month or two when an expansion goes live, you can probably make so much gold within a very short period of time that you can then just forget about gold making until the next expansion and spend like a king, right? I see this so frequently, especially in the last few expansions of being more public about stuff, streaming and making content and that sort of stuff. Like, all the more frequently have I seen the fact that people can make 10 million gold in, a matter of weeks at the beginning of an expansion and then just sit back, spend it, and then just do the same thing again at the beginning of the next expansion.
Well met. Be careful.
Keeping up to date with all of the changes and their economic impact takes time too. If you only have 5 hours a week, even this is a challenge. And your stock is much more likely to be impacted by market shifts. Yeah. Players who make a lot of gold in this game are players that do it consistently. And you're right, because there's an element of knowing what either is or is about to become an opportunity. Why do you think so many of us were spending time leveling up all of our past expansion professions 2 months ago? Why were so many people squirreling away materials 6 months ago for Decor? these were people who knew what was coming ahead of time, knew that the opportunity was going to be there, and they took action on that. Like, you know, leveling the professions 4 months ago cost you basically nothing. It was basically free to do. I imagine if you start leveling up all of your professions now for past expansion to learn the recipes for Decor, it's probably 3 or 4 times more expensive to do it today than it was a couple of months ago. So this is another thing that you can, you know, a bit of early preparation, but you can only do that if you're paying close attention to the game, which just being here now, like, puts you in the top 1% of players, like, in terms of people that are, like, prepared and know what's going on. You forget, most people don't check Wowhead. They don't watch streams. They don't watch YouTube videos. Like, most people play this game by logging in and just pottering about. Right? They stroll around and they see what's going on. They might be part of a guild. They might chat to the same people. They might log in once or twice a week to go kill a few raid bosses. Most people are not paying particularly much attention to what's going on. Certainly not looking forward. It's why content creators like Mr. GM do so well for themselves these days. If you pay attention to what's coming up and take time out of your day to tell people about it, there's a market there. There's a huge market there.
Greetings, traveler.
I used to be much better at that, but there's I've slacked a little bit recently. Right, I think that was actually the last realm I needed to post Decor on. I really don't think we made much gold from today. Certainly don't think it was worth the 2 hours it took me to do it. $20 to $50k per profession at the moment. I would say at least, yeah. With the insight and foresight on flipping mats and items, how many goblins are in the finance stock markets or have tried? I don't actually think there's that much synergy with it. People often assume that people who are good at making a lot of gold work in finance or something, but I have not seen much proof of that, really. I mean, I suppose Hickons is probably the exception to that rule, yeah. But under normal circumstances, most people I've seen who are in any way, shape, or form, like, forwardly public about their goal making, usually don't have much of a financial either background or day job. Many of us came close to goal making because of being broke in the first place. Yeah, well, yeah. World of Warcraft gives you the opportunity to feel rich, even if IRL does not treat you as well. Yeah, yeah, you're probably not wrong. Yeah, only 250k. Only 241,000 gold worth of sales. Which is less than I would like it to be. It would be nice to continue with, you know, around a token a day's worth of value. How many realms am I posting on? 22, I think, at the moment. I looked into it, and for real, too much taxes in real world trading. Not saying it's not there, but it's a different kind of world. Yeah, I mean, I'd happily play around, but I wouldn't play around with my own money. I, can't, I wouldn't object to playing around with somebody else's money. How many times do you cancel scan on them? Oh, I don't. I don't. At best, once a day. But for the most part, I don't. I post everything for 48 hours, though, and I check them daily. So I'll cancel undercuts in the morning and relist them, but maybe once again later that day if I can be bothered, if I'm willing. But not usually. Right, okay. One thing I did want to... Oh, okay, we've been disconnected on this account. No surprise. Why am I... Oh, have we disconnected? Have we effed? Chat, have we effed? I think we've effed. Are we still live? Yes, it looks like I've effed. Why does that happen then? Why does that happen then? Don't know why that happens. That's probably going to cause YouTube to have a heart attack, though. Please hold. I think we're back. I think we're live. I think we're good. Right. Banks heard him talking about trading, had to cut him off. The bank is always listening. After this stream, when will we see you again? Whilst this is then going to be within the first minute or so of this section of the VOD, after today, I'm off all of next week. There's the chance I start things back up again on the 29th. I'm quite sure I'll be itching to play some video games by the 29th. But of course, because of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day being Wednesday, Thursday that week, this week will still be a little bit broken. So to play it safe, this could be the last 2025 stream, yeah. Potential for a Monday or Tuesday return, 29th, 30th sort of thing. How my game doesn't want to load. There we go. Stupid Legion missions. I need to kill off a bunch of followers. Well, not so much kill off a bunch of followers, but recruit a bunch more. How do you recruit more troops? I need to recruit 20 troops. I can't remember how you recruit troops. They seem to die. I thought they regenerated. I thought they were on a cooldown. Outside at the target practice. One of these dudes. Class hall upgrades. Well, these have all been upgraded. Isn't this part of an achievement? Champion armaments. Request a shipment of champion armaments and equipment. Go. 12-hour cooldown? Fuck a duck. Okay. Sure. No, where is it? Expansion features. Legion class hall. Research all Hunter class hall upgrades. Okay, Hunter's fully done in that regard then. Turn left outside the door. Left, not right. Wait, what? You don't want those wasting order resources? Wait, what? Was that not it? Oh, shit. Can I undo? Turn left, not right. What we got this way? Recruiter. 3 recruits remaining. Train a squad of troops which can accompany on missions, blah, 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 blah. Recruit all. You got flipping cooldown too! Ah, oh, jeez Louise. If you've Argus done, there's 3 more troop types to recruit. Also, the BFA troops work for the achievement. Oh, okay. I categorically cannot remember. I'm barely trying to remember the Legion stuff. Never mind also trying to remember the BFA stuff. Maybe this is too much like hard work to be figuring out right now, when I'm clearly going to have forgotten it again by next time. We just go poke around Winter's Vale, see what that's got to offer. Okay, well that's that side of things sorted at least. Recruit them, send them on missions, kill them off again. GG. You made gold with the tables, you probably did Argus. They were superior if I remember. Argus has 1 type in the Vindicator, then 1 in... Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to figure this shit out another day. We need something more light-hearted for today. Because I'll have forgotten all of this by the time I come back. Let's, I wanted to poke around Winter's Vale, see what this has to offer this year. Is there anything... There's got to be some decor or something, surely, from Winter's Vale this year. Gotta be. It's the mini event that I often don't get a lot of it done because it lands right at Christmas when I'm about to just disappear for a few days. Nothing? No decor? Really? We've been scammazed? Surely not. What am I missing from previous years then? Holidays. Feast of Winter Vale. 79%. Not even a freaking Christmas tree? What, really? Oh dear. I was convinced there'd be some stuff in this. Well, maybe that's planned for next year then. Stolen presents. These are all attached to achievements, aren't they? Iron Armada. Crashing, Thrashing, Flamer. Collect all 5 toys that are part of the Iron Armada set. I vaguely remember from last year logging in a shitload of characters every day to just click a box under a tree. Is that what we're doing here? World events, Winter's Veil. Okay, that's the last achievement I need. What's Zygor have to say on the matter? Collect merry supplies. Use the Feast of Winter Veil daily quests guide to complete the Draenor dailies. Merry supplies are rewarded for completing these quests. You can buy that toy on the auction house. The flamer. Can't buy the flamer. You can buy some of them. Doesn't look like you can buy the flamer. Unless somehow magically one of the biggest realms in the EU doesn't have one. ACA, almost completed achievements, discovered it the other day. Okay. Crashing Thrashing Flamer, proud owner of the 2015 vintage Winter Veil gift, the Crashing Thrashing Flamer. Okay, odd. Quests, few missing things, some socks. Schematics, no Master 9000. Classic alchemy, classic tailoring. Can't get the prezzies until closer to Christmas Day, as far as I'm... Okay. Well, yeah, these stolen presents still seem to have a lot of stuff in them that I don't have. Let's head over to Orgrimmar and have a little look. Usually where the fun's going on. Oh, I kind of assumed there'd be a whole bunch of decor and stuff to get from this event, but that's a bit sad if they've rug pulled us on decor for this event. Here is the Carissamash tree. Great Father Winter. Gingerbread cookies, ice cold milk. Small Valajar bookcase. Wait, what? Why am I getting that tooltip for a Smoky Pastures gift pack? Hello, game. Let's just do the quests. Is the season. The Christmas tree and lights seem a given. Candy cane decor, snowman. Yeah, Winter's Veil seems like a super obvious one. Seems like a super obvious sort of decor stuff. Not to mention, thinking about pre-orders it would have sold. Like, Just put your business brain on, Blizz. How have you... Like, this fucking tree, look. These assets, they're all in the game. Turn them into decor. Do it. Odd. Maybe this is a sign that decor was rushed out the door so very quickly that they didn't have time to do anything else with it. What are we doing in here? I'm buying some in. What am I buying? Holiday spices. There is no holiday spices. Buy 5 small eggs or click here to farm them. Who's done a number on the small eggs then? This happens every year. Who's done a number on the small eggs? 8 gold apiece? Skamazed. I'm going to do some gingerbread cooking. Gingerbread cookies. Talk to Bane. Apparently we're meant to be going to Thunderbluff. Why are we going over to Zaldazar? That's not the right portal. Dornagal, Jade Forest. Is Zaldazar downstairs? Zaldazar must be downstairs. Anybody know if you can do Master of the Turbulent Timeways if you missed a week? Is that on now? I mean, I assume so. Flush the creators Discord. It seems wild that they've missed such a clear and obvious trick there. No Christmas decor at Christmas just after they release housing. Seems like somebody really dropped the ball on that one. Because look, all of the assets are in the game. There's flipping Christmas trees everywhere all of a sudden. Just let us collect them. Has anybody been farming Grumpus this year? How much is he going for on the auction house these days? He's usually 80 to 100k, isn't he? My desire to go out farming him is very limited, but it's often one of those more costly mounts that there might be some value in having some. 101k on Silvermoon. They're 100k plus. It's a pretty spicy price. one of those things that I've always sort of thought about maybe doing, setting up like garrisons to be able to go. I can't remember why you need the garrison to be able to farm Grumpus. Something about getting the daily quests or something require I think at least a tier 2 garrison. I might be wrong. Now, if it's one of those things that I'd done 100 times already in the past, maybe, but my old army is new enough that I just can't be bothered to set up the garrisons on all of them for an event that lasts like 2 weeks a year. Three Mets and the reindeer. Why are all of these marked on my map? Oh, they're probably the Decor vendors, aren't they? I've just realised. Holiday snow. Snowballs. Snowball, bit of lumber, don't mind if I do. Can't literally fly past a tree these days. There be squirrels in them, the trees. Oh shit. Pew pew. Wow, he gets his ass handed to him now. Holy. Look at the amount of people flocking to the lumber. See a wood, pick it up. See a wood, pick it up. This is why I'm not convinced midnight lumber is going to be worth really much of anything. Far too many people are going to have far too easy access to the midnight lumber. Midnight might be the first time we really see the work orders for Decor kick in. Because people will be like, oh, I've got this lumber. Oh, well, let me just go buy some mats quickly and I'll put in a work order for 10 gold for it. The past expansion lumbers, though, they don't have... No, those zones don't have natural foot traffic for players to just kind of casually have a bunch of the lumber. And then they think about going and farming 50 lumber in Northrend and they're like, no, I'll just buy it off the auction house. Consider this, though, it might be the first expansion far more players will be driven towards crafting. Well, the barrier to entry is basically non-existent, which does certainly help push more people into crafting. You need nothing but the recipe to be able to craft something at top quality. Concentration dependent. So that's there's going to be some interesting. Weirdly, though, I don't think this is anything that Blizzard is going to really have much control on. I'm going to be honest. I think it's more down to content creators. I think the more that content creators talk about the fact that you can basically just pick up your profession and press a button and make gold, the more people will be like, oh, what? Wait, really? Blizzard aren't really going to be able to do anything that's going to make that much of a difference, I don't think. But if me and K-Chak and, you know, more generic content creators like Mr. GM and Soul start talking about how concentration just, you know, is an easy money printer. That might give a more widely understood public opinion of crafting again. The issue I think is that there's not significant enough has changed. I think even concentration being added and even patron orders being added weren't significant enough of a change for people who played around with professions in Dragonflight to give them another go. So unfortunately, I don't think removing one quality is going to really move the needle that much either, but... $80 skill in a profession is still somewhat of a barrier. Yeah, you're probably not wrong, actually. At the beginning of an expansion, you're right, yeah. It's not a given that people will have their professions at 80 plus skill. Especially since most of the professions, at least from what I've seen so far, they are following the same pattern, which is that much past skill 50, they slam the brakes on. You might have to do something creative to get from 50 to 80. There is a flip side of that, though, that if you can get to 80 without too much stress, people might actually look at crafting Decor as a way to get from 80 to 100 if Decor has skill. If Decor gives you skill, then you can bet your ass that there'll be a flood of the Decor as everybody uses it to get to skill 100. A couple of the professions I've looked at, though, so far, the Decor doesn't seem to give you skill points. But there's nothing to say that that won't change. They should make lumbering its own profession and lock the zones behind knowledge points. It's an interesting thought, but I've always wanted them to go the other way. I'm actually really glad that they've made lumber be something that everybody can do. It is a step in the right direction from my perspective, for them to actually make gathering a generic secondary skill. I think everybody should pick up herbs and everybody should be able to mine. I don't think having them as full-on one of two main professions makes a lot of sense. I think everybody should be able to gather. And then you can pick two, like, crafting professions. So I think them giving everybody the ability to do some lumbering will, well, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, look at the value of lumber right now, right? Look at my little custom price sources for lumber. Most pieces of lumber are still worth 400 gold plus. And we're 2 weeks in. So it just goes to show that because everybody can doesn't mean everybody does. Much like cooking. Everybody can go fishing. Everybody can make their own food. Doesn't mean that people do. And so I also don't think that giving people the ability to pick up herbs or to mine ore or skin beasts is really that detrimental. Give it to everybody to do, and let the people that want to do it, and let the people that are still too lazy to do it buy it off somebody else. Yeah, plus, yeah, the beta seems to have achievements for being able to gather lumber whilst mounted once you've collected 250 lumber from that expansion. Be interesting to see if that is, if that will end up being, what's the word I'm looking for? Retroactive. Or whether you'll have to quickly go out and do an hour's lumbering in every zone to be able to do it mounted. We have crazy skill trees for crafting now and no skill or gameplay for crafting itself. I wonder if they'll ever change that and make the crafting process actual gameplay and not just pressing a button. I don't think so. I don't think so. you got, like, it would only, like, I can't help but feel it would be anything but gimmicky if they tried to do that. Much like how RPGs in the past have tried to have, like, lock picking mechanics and stuff like that. They tried to make picking a lock on a door a bit of a mini game. If they just did that if they did that sort of stuff for crafting, it would just be tedious for the people who actually enjoy it in the first place. Because I don't think they'd actually be able to make it meaningfully interesting. I think having the... I would very much love to see them take the Legion approach to professions again, though. I would very much like, you know, quest chains, storylines, actual gameplay revolved around leveling up your profession and skilling up within it. The fly around, pick up 2 treasures out of a dirt pile is very, very, very uninspiring, though. Minigames are fun for an hour, but every day, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, even patron orders, for example, right? Patron orders, you could argue, is injecting some element of gameplay. Like, you have a different orders to fulfill each day, and if you really take it slow and steady, then, well, maybe you can go farm up some materials to fill your patron orders and stuff. But the reality is gamers do gamer things, and we just use Craft Sim to be able to press a few buttons, make a shopping list, craft them en masse, and get them done. Because when it's a repetitive task that is needed to be done every single day, the fun aspect of it disappears super fast. And so you just gamify the shit out of it and make it as painless as possible. Why they're making it a chore is problematic. That they probably shouldn't make these things too chore-like. I've given feedback to Blizzard a few times now, stating that the patron order system is a bit of a joke. I mean, it's almost insulting that they give you 3 flickers a day, and that is what they determine drip feed catch up. I mean, it is kind of gross. And the fact that they aren't even, like, guaranteed easy win orders either. Looking at this one, for example, you know, not providing any of the materials means it would cost me 400 gold. Like, it would cost me probably, you know, I get a bit of a commission and I get what's in the goodie bag, sure. But, like, the reality is this order would cost me about 400 gold to get that catch-up knowledge point. I don't mind there being a cost. There shouldn't also then be a restriction on how many of them I can do. It's either catch-up or it's not. And patron orders don't feel like a catch-up system. To be fair, to give Blizzard some credit, I'm not actually sure Blizzard have ever really called the system a catch-up system. So maybe maybe I've, from the word go, been putting words in Blizzard's mouth that they didn't actually say. I'm not sure I could quote anywhere where Blizzard have actually really said this is a catch-up system. But it has all of the tools of a catch-up system, even if they've never called it one. But it's still insulting that they give you 3 knowledge points a day when you have professions that have, like, quite literally hundreds of points. More like a mustard system. Doggo's pooped. Sulo's tired today, yeah. I made sure to go on a nice big run this morning. Long walk with them both this morning. 10k? No. Not that ridiculous. He's proper chilling though. He's proper chilling. He's a good boy. We've only had Sulo a few weeks, but he's a real good boy. He's almost the same colour as the rug. And then you can see Alma's balled up over by the door, guarding her water bowl. She's not asleep. Wake. Big stretch. He is a rug? Yeah, I know. He's getting real fluffy as well now. Clearly dreaming of something fun. He's smiling, look. Smiley smileys. I think housing will be profitable in midnight. Will you be able? Will there be demand for housing stuff? Absolutely. Will there be enough people crafting it? Absolutely. The likelihood of there being profit is pretty good, but profit is never guaranteed. Profit is a luxury for he who works hard. Don't work hard enough, you don't get any profit. Do I take him to a groomer? Not at this age, although to be honest, I probably should, even though that they don't really need it. Probably should, just so it's you know, an experience that they get used to. I don't really take the older ones to the groomers. They get brushed once or twice a week, and then they shed their fur naturally, probably twice a year, to keep themselves looking fresh. Give them a shave in the summer. They have a what's known as a double coat, so that even though like Nipsu is like completely black, she gets like hot to the touch in the summer. But her outer layer, she has an outer layer of fur and then an inner layer. The inner layer both works as insulation in the winter when it's cold, but it also keeps the heat off them in the summer. So they kind of they're quite good at regulating their own temperature, even though they're super fluffy. We, you know, humans, if we were wearing a coat in the middle of summer, we'd literally die. But that's because our cooling system is, you know, sweat. Our cooling system requires air to be brushing over us for us to stay cool. Dogs just have a second coat. These dogs, at least, they have a second coat underneath so that the heat doesn't even penetrate through in the first place. At least to my layman's understanding of the tech. Talking of shaving, that island on your head is going under. Yeah, global warming, mate. That's what it is. Global warming. Tides are rising. I just need to, maybe for 2026, we'll reposition the camera a little bit lower down. We'll see. Or just get the clippers out and whip it all off. Yeah, you're not wrong. Right, boys and girls. I'm mostly just procrastinating here. I'm flipping, running around doing work orders. I genuinely thought there'd be a lot more to Winter's Veil this year. I thought there was going to be Decor to chase after and stuff, but it turns out they've missed a trick. That was my plan for the second half of this stream today, so I, in all honesty, I think I'm going to call it there for today. There is,
Is that your wallet?
I could
You
start
just
doing
glad to
some
see
beta
me.
stuff. You're right,
Both, I
but
hope.
I think it's a little bit late in the day to start doing that. Kahani with the bits, thank you very much, my man. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you too. On that note, boys and girls, this is probably the last stream before Christmas now, just because of the timings of when everything's happening. I will be off next week, and by off, I mean I will be actually away out the house, like properly away off. There's a few keepers of peace in Discord. I will still be checking in on the Discord most days. So, you know, don't go crazy in there. I will still be poking in every day just to make sure that nothing's being set on fire. Everybody's going to be pretty busy for Christmas anyway, yeah. So there, to reiterate just once more, the streams will probably start back up. I say probably because it depends how I feel at the time, but probably start up again on the 29th. Obviously, the 29th, 30th, 31st is New Year's Eve. The New Year's Day is on the Thursday, so there might be a little bit of a delay in the week, a little bit. So it probably we'll ease back into it, but probably starting on the 29th. 29th, maybe the 30th. We'll ease back into things. And then it's kind of full-on beta mode, I think, from that point on, really. Full-on beta. Hopefully, well, I think Blizzard are going to take a week or two off, aren't they? So we might not actually have a new, fresh beta build probably until early January. So we'll see what happens with that. But, you know, schedule-wise, we'll probably put retail down for the most part. It'll be beta, figuring everything out, documenting everything, trying to get those plans together on what works and what doesn't work. Ready for pre-patch. Pre-patch goes live 20th of January. 6 weeks worth of pre-patch by the looks of things, which is kind of spicy. That's longer than I would have expected, but cool. We'll live with that. We'll work with that. And of course, March the 2nd, midnight rolls around. But yeah, first and foremost, Merry Christmas to everybody. You are celebrating, have fun. If it's not your jam, stay safe, enjoy your time, chill out in the games, have some fun, either way. Goblin Toolbox add-on update will be on the Discord in about an hour. More testers welcome. Yes, in the Discord. I've not got it on my screen right now, but Woo's working on a little add-on. Goblin Toolbox, which you might have seen on my screen a little bit, as a cheeky way to help replace some of the weak auras that we might lose when Midnight launches. Goblin Toolbox channel in the Discord. You can grab yourself a copy of that, the latest version. Woo updates this one before it hits CurseForge. But yeah, boys and girls, I wish you a wonderful Christmas. I will see you in... well, it's like 10 days, isn't it? It's going to feel like forever. Ugh. I'll be back soon. Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll see you all, hopefully, for 2026. Peace.